Production Alliance. I'm Barton Bund.
I'm Mark Adler.
And this is another at-home dispatch on safety and the new industry, Mark. So, and in the past week, we've heard a lot of new things. I'm wondering about what you're anticipating when you're going back to work at on a small shoot. Let's say that it's not a Tyler Perry-sized 300+ person bubble. Let's say that you're going back to work on a small project. It's a couple of days maybe, and what would that be looking like, and what is going to change when you're back on the job?
Right. Of course, we cannot be sure until we're on the job, but based on the guidelines that we're reading, smaller crews, and we're talking about situations where one person is tasked to do many jobs, which, we're talking about a union job versus a non-union job too. There's union contracts involved. So it's going to be a very delicate balance as to, how we can get back. It might be a situation where in order to keep the client, we are going to present them with a smaller crew so that everyone can do their craft and get the product out for the client. I have just been asked to rent equipment to a job, for example.
Okay.
And what's happening there is they don't want me. This has happened before, but I don't typically rent my teleprompter equipment.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. It involves training someone else to do it and a little bit of trust. So, I'm taking a chance. I am going to train this person, and they're going to have the equipment for 3 days, and that's fine. But they don't need me. They're going to have that's on them. It's not terribly easy to do prompting. There's a little bit of art to it.
I'd say, yeah. No, I mean the people like you and like a few other skilled technicians that I've worked with,
right.
You work very well. I mean, how is that going to change? Is anything going to change for you? Because you have to talk to talent. You have to figure out their speed. You have to be kind of in their brain, don't you?
Well, totally. Yeah, it's kind of a Vulcan mind meld. We must trust each other that we're going to come back. If my talent goes off like Hillary Clinton went off after receiving her script, 5 minutes before, she goes off script and she does not come back. She does not land. So that's a hardship for any technician. If you're not hitting your marks when you're in front of the camera, that's a problem for camera. So there's a certain amount of that, but technically, for pandemic production now, we're talking about safety. It's all about safety. So it's distancing. So I'm going to have to sit my client farther away from me. I'm going to have to provide another monitor for that client so they can see what I'm editing without looking over my shoulder. I'm going to have a mask on. I'm going to have sanitizer and some kind of solution, 80-20, to sanitize my equipment. It's going to be a very interesting thing. And I've even bought a sneeze guard, purchased a sneeze guard to put between us, because I've seen that that's becoming necessary.
Well, you're designing a whole new rig. I mean, you are beefing up a whole new rig in anticipation of really anything, so that you're ready to go as soon as possible. And it's wild. I did buy some of that Lucaside stuff.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
That Kim Jones was recommending, and I can't wait. I'm just like, I think it's going to change my life. But I am planning on taking precautions. And on today's show, we're talking about the Wretched. We're talking about this Michigan film, made in Michigan, and we are seeing, and it became the #1 movie in America during this time. It's available on video on demand, and that's where I saw it. But people are also able to go out and see it at a drive-in,
which is so cool. I haven't been to a drive-in movie in years.
And but we're also looking at this became this viable alternative model, and I loved that. So apparently, when IFC was looking at releasing this thing, it was going to be an online release, or it was going to be limited, or it was all happening very recently. And then they said, we have a few drive-ins that want to run your movie, and you'll be one of the only first-run movies. And then they said, we had a couple more screens open up, and now it managed to spread like crazy. And I'm just, I'm happy for people. If people can have a safe experience out there and they can run out and they can see this film that is, it's kind of an astonishing thing. And our guest today, Madelynn Stuenkel, plays the title character. And it's one of the most interesting physical performances, but also it's a ton of makeup and a ton of, there's a lot of technical aspects that are going on here. And I also looked at it and I said, God, we would have a really hard time making that movie today if we were trying to do all the things that they're doing in this film, including intimacy, violence, heavy duty makeup involving teams of people. And so, like Kim mentioned yesterday, this is one of the things that is going to be completely up for redesign.
Yes, absolutely. So let's,
let's bring our guest. So Madelynn Stuenkel is joining us. Welcome, Madelynn. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Good. How is this? Did you anticipate that The Wretched was going to blow up like it did during this time?
Not at all. It's been kind of surreal right now to be going through having a movie premiere while completely locked down. Because at first, when we had just found out that we were going to have a limited theatrical run, I was so excited. It was, bigger than I would have ever thought. And then after everything shut down, we were kind of unsure about what that meant for our movie then, because we couldn't have that limited theatrical run. But it worked out better, dare I say, like with everything. Yeah, getting to go to all these drive-ins and just growing.
What's that experience like? Because, well, I mean, can you go anonymously to one of these things? Do people know that it's you in the movie at all, or is
it? No. I mean, with the amount of makeup I have on, I mean, I remember when I went to one of our first premieres, we premiered about a year ago at Fantasia Festival in Canada. And I remember when I showed up, I was kind of nervous that people who worked on the movie weren't going to recognize me, because I was always in like all this heavy makeup, even during lunch and everything. And when I first met the directors, since I did a self-tape audition, I didn't even meet them until my first day on set when I was in all of this makeup. So yeah.
How did this gig come about? How did this gig come about? Because it's very unusual. I mean, you are doing now you are, I should mention, Madelynn, this is the first time we've spoken face to face since we were you were getting ready to go to college. You were getting ready to go to Columbia. And we were working on a couple some prep.
Yeah.
And I remember I told you, I said, if you get a chance to get into one of these schools, you have to go after it like nothing else. You're one out of a million. You have to go.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I told you was stay away from indie horror movies.
I was so like, I don't know, this could be sketchy.
But it was, but you landed it. But how did the audition come about, and how did you know that you were right for it?
Yeah, so I had originally gotten the email. It was actually, I was going to school. I was working on this show at the moment that was this whole devised movement piece about birds. So I was in rehearsal for that, and I got an email from Productions Plus, which I had actually done, I think, one commercial with them when I was a lot younger. Like, it was a dentist commercial, I had braces, it was the whole thing. And so I hadn't worked with them since then, and then they just sent me this email kind of out of the blue looking for tall movement artists to send in a tape of you doing some like crawl, like stalking your prey. And I just sent one in, and I didn't hear from them for a couple weeks, I think. And I was like, oh, I guess I didn't get it. And then all of a sudden I got the call, and it was like, hey, Madelynn, we'd like to cast you. Can you go get a face cast done tomorrow so we can send that to LA to make your makeup? And I was like, okay, I guess so. So
yes, I can. And,
yeah,
and
yes.
You did. Where'd you go? Did you find a makeup artist that day, or what was it?
Yeah, so they actually contacted some people in Chicago who worked for the CineSpace studios there, who did some work with like the Chicago Fire and Chicago PD makeups. And so they were able to squeeze me in and do a face cast, which is like this whole mold of your face and shoulders, so that they can create a realistic bust of your face, so they can sculpt the custom prosthetics on it. And so I got that done in Chicago the next day, I think, and then they were able to send that then to LA, where the makeup head for our movie was able to sculpt it. And he is actually from Michigan originally, so that was really cool too.
And who is the makeup lead on this?
Yeah, it was Eric Porn. He was the head special effects makeup, and he did all the practical effects on the movie.
Fantastic.
Is that right?
So you
Yeah.
mentioned you're looking for a tall
Yeah.
actress. How tall are you?
I'm 5'11", so it's like decently tall.
Yeah, yeah,
And
that's fantastic.
Madeline, yeah, Madeline is very physically sort of like, well, you do some odd movement stuff in there that involves what looks like your, shoulders and arms are out of joint, and the movement itself is complicated. You are physically kind of like imposing and terrifying in this role. You are, and that is you. Is that always your hands and your you doing all those pieces even when we can't see the whole thing?
Yeah. I was always kind of the body. I mean, sometimes when we had to do crazy things, like there's one scene where both arms kind of reach around the camera, and I was only one of the hands, and we had one of the other makeup artists was the other hand, so that we could get that huge reach. But other than that, it was always me kind of, on the banisters and doing all these crazy things, like getting to do a whole water layer scene and coming down from the ceiling. It was wild.
How did you coordinate all these stunts and all this movement, and how did you kind of design this character, and how did you figure out how to make, because it's distinctive. It has a feel like, it's, to me it was like watching a creature that is like, it's like the Ring girl, when she crawls up out of the well.
Yes.
Ring meets Predator. Like it was so, because you're not just a scary presence, but then you actually pounce, and you are, a vicious child kidnapping monster.
Yeah, so I mean, I did take some inspiration from The Ring and that whole character, because when I was my first year in college, I had 3 other roommates, and I had black hair, and I used to hide under their beds and put the hair over my face and pretend to be, crawl out of their beds. And so when I got this call, I was like, oh yeah, I got something I can do. But then
in your training, how did you apply your training to this new thing that you created? I mean, you really created this character, as we know.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough, in the original call for the audition, they sent some of Drew, who is one of the writers and directors. He also does storyboarding, so he's a really good artist, and he sent his original concept art with the audition call. So I took these poses that they had sketched this monster in, and I tried to recreate them with my body as best as I could, and then from there I tried and see like what kind of movement came out of that pose. And I also, in my training, I had done a lot of element work, like the classic, air, earth, water, and fire. And I knew there's even a quote in the movie that says she's born from root, rock, and tree. So I tried to incorporate a lot of those kind of earthy and very grounded kind of movements. And also, since the tree has such significance throughout it, kind of with my arms, doing that kind of feeling of breaking branches with my elbows and with my shoulders, and kind of really focusing on that kind of feeling with it.
Well, I can see that now that I can see all that concept going into it, because you really are like a creature. You are like a plant, or like an earthly element that grows up out of the earth. It's a really cool. It's a brilliant image.
Let's find out a little bit about the production, Madeline. Where did you shoot this?
We shot in like Traverse City. So that was super fun. I used to go up there up north with my family, and so it was so crazy to be going up there to film a movie.
Oh, right, absolutely. Did you have a big crew or a small crew? I think it was small, right?
Yeah, it would, I guess, compared to like what, large studio movies would be. It was, and then there was like a lot of family, like Brett and Drew, the writers and directors, had their dad and their mom, and their little son was in the movie, and there were a lot of locals who got to work on it, whether they had worked on movies before or if this was their first time on a set. And so that was a really cool experience. I mean, for me, it was my first professional movie, and so it was such a welcoming set.
What a debut, Madeline. I am just like so blown away that like, a lot of us, like you really made a splash, and you're like a horror icon by now. It's hilarious. I am curious about stunt safety and things like that, because again, I'm looking at this movie and I'm like, when are we ever going to be able to do all these things ever again?
I know. I definitely miss that. I mean, for me, I have a bit of experience also. When I went to college, I did like 3 years of stage and screen combat. So I was already kind of trained in violence for the camera and for stage. And so I think that background definitely helped when I was going in, because a lot of these things, you know, they do kind of trust you to know what you're doing. Like, you have to be able to know how to keep yourself safe as well as the other actor you're working with. If you're doing like a grapple, like, you have to know how to protect them.
Mm-hmm.
That's right. On a big film, you'd have a stunt coordinator doing that.
Yeah.
Smaller film, it's up to you, and it's good that you have that training.
Yeah, we did have a stunt coordinator, but I mean, a lot of it gets so gritty, and there's so many little things that, you know, the directors wouldn't think about, but it's not till you're one of those people kind of in the mud doing this that you think about, this could go wrong.
Were there any moments, you know, where you were like, I can't believe what I'm doing, you know, like, I am crawling through dirt and I am, like, were there any, it looked cold, it looked a little uncomfortable.
Oh, it was freezing, because I mean, it was May, but it was, you know, we were always doing night shoots, so it was pretty cold at night, and given what I was doing, I didn't really have anything on, and usually I was covered in either some kind of slime or blood or water, so I got pretty cold, but I never felt scared in anything I was doing. If anything, I thought it was crazy, but I thought it was so cool. They used to always think it was so hilarious, because after we do something like I was crawling out of a dead body, or if I'm eating a small child, and then in between takes, I'd be like, how was that, guys? Did that look good? And I had like this high voice. I was always giggling, even though I looked haunting.
Great outtakes there. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah, lunch table. Yeah, would be. Yeah, I do want to see Madelynn trying to like.
It's hilarious. Yeah, there's these pictures of me like trying to eat carrots while I'm fully like that with the teeth in, and it's funny.
Oh my god.
Where are you spending your time
Where was I spending my time?
Since pandemic?
Oh, well, I'm in Michigan right now. I just actually graduated from Columbia College Chicago. So that was an interesting time these past few weeks, finishing an acting degree online and doing a digital showcase. So that was an interesting experience.
Are you happy with your training? I mean, I've always meant to ask you, because you went off and you went in, you got into the program that you wanted. Are you happy with it? And do you feel like, I mean, obviously you're already applying, you know, your unique skills, but what were some of the good insights? Do you recommend training of this kind for everybody?
Yeah. I mean, again, it's not for everyone, because a lot of going to college for, I think, anything in the arts, you really have to put in what you want to get out, because you can't expect them just to give you the information you need on a plate. You know, acting and creativity is something that you have to put into to get out of it. But I loved my time there. It really opened up my thinking to all different kinds of perspectives and learning about different techniques. Yeah, there's some that I wouldn't, you know, kind of stick to myself, but I now have the ability to draw from all these different techniques I learned and take what works for me and like this from that and kind of combine them into what works for me. And it gave me those tools to kind of make my own kit.
Are you staying in horror, or are you entertaining the possibility that you might go on and do other similar things after this? I mean, a lot of the people who like played the Predator, they continue to go on to like do other creature work and things like that. Are you anticipating that as part of what you do? Because you're a nice person.
Yeah, I mean, it's so fun. Like, it's almost a little addicting, kind of getting to do all that makeup. I loved every minute. They say it's not for everyone because it requires a lot of patience, sitting in the chair and standing, letting the makeup artist do what they need to do. But I thought it was so cool to be able to completely physically transform into something that looks nothing like me, and then getting to do all of these crazy movements. I mean, it just, how many other roles am I gonna be able to crawl out of a dead body? It was so fun. But
it is
also,
so amazing. Yeah, well, it's absolutely amazing, and I wish you all the best. I mean, I was just when I realized that, you know, it was you and that you were in there and that this Michigan film was just out there and that you are an indelible image people will never forget.
Yeah,
you know?
I can't believe that all of this has come out of that.
it's really an amazing thing. So I want to follow the film, and I just wish you all the best with it. And
Thank you so much.
It's just such a joy to see you again after all these years,
Great.
and to see that you're doing the thing that you love. And the thing that you wanted to do in the beginning, you went and you did it, and that you went after it. And I'm just thrilled for you. So thank you so much.
I think it all started with you telling me that I should really go for it.
Well, good. No, I believed in you, Madelynn, and I always knew that, like, you know, like, but I did not anticipate. I had no idea what it was going to be at that point, because I figured once you went to college, that's just the beginning. A lot of people think that it's like the end result of a lot of work. It's actually just the start.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm thrilled for you, and congratulations on graduating, and what a season it's been for you. It's been fabulous.
I'm excited to keep going.
I have one more question for you. Was Sam Raimi's name ever invoked on set? Sam Raimi?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I still have not met him, but I know Brett and Drew have a great connection with him, and he was one of the first people that I think ever saw the finished cut. Like, before anyone else, they had him come in to see it and review it. So he always, I know he likes it, and I hope like something in the future comes out of it with, I think the Brett and Drew who worked on this movie I think their next step, their next project, I'm excited to see what it is.
Absolutely. And I'm sure that you're probably, if you're not getting them now, you will be receiving scripts very soon.
Yes, I hope so too. Once all this filming can come back.
Well, it's going to be limited as far as what we can do, and I mean, it's remarkable to see that people were. It's remarkable. You shot this when in Traverse City? It was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah.
Okay, it's just amazing that when I looked at that film and I'm like, we could never, like, at this moment we're so far away from that. But I mean, what we're trying to do is just continue to spread the word about what's happening now with safety, so that we can get back to work, because we all want to.
Yes.
You know, well, I'm glad you're out there, Madelynn. I'm glad you're jumping into this world.
Right in.
Yeah, you just with both elbows. So I'm really happy for you. And Mark, this has been, you know, we have a continually evolving story going on here with the film industry, and especially in Michigan. I think that if we can keep an eye on what's happening here, you know, and continue to spread the good ideas when it comes to safety, I think that we can get back to this sooner rather than later. But there's still a long ways to go.
Absolutely. So this interview will be on our the Michigan Production Alliance's YouTube channel and our Facebook group page. So watch for that, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much, Madelynn, for
yes, thank you for having me again.
All right, and head down to mpami.org and check out our Facebook feed. We are constantly updating that with lots of new stuff. And Mark, we are anticipating some kind of white paper, the white paper from a combination of SAG-AFTRA and IATSE, and some of the unions are coming together. But we know that that's one of the things that we're hoping to cover as it develops. My name is Barton Bund.
And I'm Mark Adler. Thank you for watching.